Okay, Tanya, now we'll talk about what you're doing now in a bit, but you're a punter still?
Always a punter. Always a punter, even though drilled in from me from birth was never go to churches. Drilled onto me, and father saying, I always want to be your bookmaker. He ain't wrong, but I am always a punter because it's something I enjoy. And yes, I do understand it's a problem for some people, but for me, it's the buzz, it's self-recognition, it's the enjoyment. It's trying to prove that you're right on something, but yeah, I do enjoy punting.
But you might enjoy punting, but do you make the bookmakers pay you, or do you pay the bookmakers? This is the. Are you a winner?
I wouldn't tackle me on golf. I wouldn't tackle me on golf, and I wouldn't tackle me on cricket. But I always tackle me on racing. And yeah, when NFL comes about, I don't dabble so much now in all of them because other interests, because I like to study really hard. Or I don't know whether people remember Golf Weekly. About 25 years ago there was a golf fantasy competition. I led that like for a few weeks. You know, so I appreciate and respect what Steve Palmer and Jeremy Chapman do because I know how much work they put into it. It's not just writing a column each week. I used to have every publication imaginable even sent over from America to me because I used to focus on the PGA Tour at the time, to the extent that I was refused bets on 101 shots, and you know it was really frustrating. So when the exchanges came for my golf punting was a godsend, and also when the exchanges came it meant that I could sort of hedge out on chokers. Because I knew that if I back a choker, I want to get out if he's hit the front, if he's lucky enough to hit the front. I remember backing Chad Campbell for the Honda Classic at 66-1, and after the second round, he was 5-2 favourite. And when you saw who was stacking up behind him, no way, no way. And yeah, I mean, I did bottle it and cash out, but Chad Campbell never won that tournament. So it's seeing those opportunities. And I got a lot. I mean, people may never have heard of some golfers. My car was paid for by Matt Every. Just Matt Every. He won the Bay Hill Classic twice. So after the first year, I'd back a few shillings in the first year. Second year, I waded in a second time. My biggest ever win was him winning the Bay Hill. People think that it was Todd Hamilton. I mean, Jeremy Chapman always remembers me and Todd Hamilton in the Open. But subsequent, I never thought it was going to happen like that again, because I remember Todd Hamilton in the Open, I was laying him at evens and Dad was driving. Because luckily he saw the situation I was in, he drove and stand up at Sittingbourne for me on the Sunday night. Normally I stood up at Sittingbourne, but he drove down and stood up for me while Todd Hamilton was going down the final stretch with Ernie Els. And then when he finally won that tournament, yeah, it was good not going to Sittingbourne.
Right. So I don't want to talk figures, but would you describe your punting as small, medium or large?
Medium. I'd describe it as medium. I mean, yeah, this week I'm not gonna win on the Open this week, but I'm not going to lose as such. I wade into Cupcake, as I call him, Brooks Koepka. But there's a couple of massive outsiders that are playing well, and I can just jiggle around a bit. But I'm always looking, say, for tournaments for next week and next week and next week. So no, I'm medium.
Right, getting away from that, but not totally, punting still. You became involved with the Horserace Bettors Forum.
Yeah, a lot of testosterone in that room, wasn't there? Which I'm used to, because like when I was stood up at the dog tracks, I would, other than the trainers and some kennel hands, there weren't many people that would chat back to the testosterone. It means well, and it's been doing a real lot of work. A lot of good work under Matt and Simon, doing a lot of good work, but it's still got to focus on what the whole of racing punters want. And it's done so much hard work on that, but sometimes that gets, my feeling, sometimes that gets lost in all of us, and I'm as guilty as anyone.
How do you mean exactly? What things?
Self-interest. You know, and I'm as guilty as anyone because I'm as selfish. But then selfish and independent, and so yeah, you've got to. It's very tricky not just to focus on what the people within the room want and then what other people want. But then, as much as that's to blame, those outside of that room should then communicate more with their observations, their criticisms, what they want. There's lack of that. There's too much apathy everywhere. I mean, that doesn't help, but yeah, no, I mean, you've only got a short tenure, and plus because I was doing my normal thing of getting easily distracted, that's been the same, that I just had to walk away, because otherwise, see, I've got no filter. You didn't see the real me in front of the camera, because you couldn't do, because my filters, to the extent that what I do now, I'm kept in the corner washing up, because if I'm at the till, I'd be there for 5 minutes.
Well, this is an adult channel, so you can be yourself. I mean, so why did you leave in the end?
Why did I leave?
Yeah.
Just that, because I got no filter. I couldn't control myself and people around me. But no, why did I leave? I was starting to get other roles. The business I now run was starting, i.e. other roles. I now work in ITV production. I now part in a business. I now appear in front of camera still. I was doing Weatherby's, writing blogs for Weatherby's at the time. They very sweetly gave me a window to write. So there was so much going on. I couldn't give enough to the Horserace Bettors Forum, and I felt guilty about that, because they are so hands-on. They want you to go and speak in the rings, and I wasn't. This is where I say I stepped out of racing. I wasn't in racing enough to qualify to be on that panel.
And as part of that role, and since you've left, you've been taking part in sort of parliamentary sort of discussions and. Yeah,
because I was really kindly asked back on the Horse Racing Sponsors Association. Part of that was to go and speak to the all-party racing group, i.e. what I thought preached to the converted. But what was really refreshing and really great about that was the converted weren't in the room. What came is what I needed to see. We'd been hearing from outside of racing, what we'd been hearing from the BHA. What I mean, MPs that came into the room weren't part of the all-party racing group, i.e. they knew nothing about racing, or they knew racing was about, but they had their angles and their dislike. So of course I went in there thinking that the first question I would be asked would be towards welfare. And we're recording on a day when Richard Flint's article come out, and in fact the first questions that were aimed at me was towards gambling and how betting is there's plenty of negativity towards betting, and it opened my eyes to how much negativity towards betting there is. And that would maybe suggest that it was just one party's MPs that were coming in, but there were Lords coming in as well. So be warned. And racing be warned, because as much as those with forthright opinions and beliefs and saying racing should stand up for, and it should stand up for, unfortunately for all of us, we don't go into Parliament. Even if we did go into Parliament, we don't stick our hand up, and if they vote that they don't want us, it's a bit of a pain, isn't it? You know, that's so somehow there is a need to go and translate all our positivity. As I said at the start, we've got to translate our positivity, because quite often, as racing finds and as everyone finds, decisions are made that we can have no bearing on. And the best thing that we could do is find our detractors, transcripts of our detractors, and see how much racing is going to struggle. And it's not just racing, all industries are going to struggle. The best thing to do is find transcripts, and that's all you have to do, because they're the decision makers in the end.
Yeah, now you work now. Now you work with ITV again.
I do. I work behind the scenes with them.
And you're on Talk Sport Radio.
Yes.
Do you not miss being in front of the camera?
I am in front of the camera. Thanks to Clive Lawrence and Dave Lawrence, particularly to Clive Lawrence. He risked me last year in front of the camera, initially as a guest on Racing Post Greyhound TV. Because I say risked me, and I was a huge risk because I've been out of greyhound racing for a number of years. So the people that I were appearing with were the sons and the daughters of the trainers I had dogs with. So when they were walking in, Mum says hello or Dad says hello, I'm thinking, oh, great. So you can see what a big vacuum hole that I'm missing, but now I've been able to slowly but surely catch up, and from being a guest, I'm now hosting. And oh my goodness me, do I have great fun with Tony Bullen. I mean, I think if you watch it and me and Tony are on, there is utter mischief. Because when the emails come in, Tony's not afraid of reading them out. If they're constructive criticism and they've got a little bit of, I don't know, malice behind them, but in a sensible way, he'll read them out. Because Tony's all his experience of training and my experience of owning, we can then sort of try, I mean, they're not going to listen to us. I mean, someone emailed in this is how mischievous Tony is. Someone emailed in the other day and he read it out, said, Tanya needs to be out in the field more. And Tony replied, said, yeah, we need more scarecrows. That's what Tony's like. He's great. He's absolutely great. I've got him a few times coming up in the next couple of months. So, but other than that, but as soon as we walk in the production gallery, they say to us, behave. I remember him reading an email out about handicaps or something, handicap dog racing where the traps go up, and that's it. I mean, he read out a record amount of emails because he's so contentious, and that's what you need. You cannot have a sterile environment. That's why you need a Tony, you need a Matt on ITV, because if you don't have them, it's boring. It is so boring.
Right, what's probably not boring. You, we're all about shameless promotion here. Show us your logo.
Oh God,
you run a coffee shop.
Yeah.
Where'd you find the time to do all this stuff?
Everyone says that to me. I don't know. They say give more work to a busy person, don't they? Yeah. As I said, when when Channel 4 came to a close, which was December 2016. At that point, as it was coming to a close, we saw nearby where we lived, there was this building with whitewashed windows. It used to be a tea shop. This is me and my father. And I'd also done a learn how to make coffee course and how to run a coffee shop course, but that was just totally independent. I had no intention. I didn't know what he was going to do. So we got the lease, but in order to get the lease, you need to speak to the landlord, and then ended up buying the whole building. So now I run a coffee shop with him, and before I come to see you today, this is what I mean, I was by the dishwasher and washing up bowl because I have to have my back because I have back chat, so I'm washing up the whole time. It was so manic. Today there was lots of lattes and lots of smoothies today, but everyone was sheltering from the weather. But I don't know, it's just the buzz, isn't it? Because they would say that, and you'd say that quite many years ago when I was in my teens, when I was watching all those dog videos, like you was working for SIS, watching the dog videos, coming home, you'd say, my only know how to exist is a work ethic, and just work the whole time. And that may be to the detriment of everything else. I.e., people would say a social life, but my social life has been punting, so social life has been, messing about and punting.
Now, when I was stalking you, or should I say researching?
Yeah, stalking.
I did see on one of your social media pages the phrase "never say if only." What's all that about?
What's all that about? That's because I'm so independent in life, and I want to do everything I can. But of course, no one do anything beyond their means. Don't bet beyond your means. Don't do anything beyond your means. But me, I love my sport, so I want to go and see things. So never say if only means say I want to see. Unfortunately, I'm a gunner, everyone. I can't help that. I want to see Arsenal, Liverpool, but of course, when other people go to the football, I get the other matches, not the marquee matches of the Emirates Stadium. So I bought at auction Arsenal to beat Liverpool. So I'm finally going to see it. finally going to see it. And then what I mean by never say if only, there was, I think it was about 2009 where the T20 World Cup was here. Dad and I bought tickets to every game. We went to see every game. We took the whole of June. That was amusing. That was amusing, trying to tell Andrew Franklin that wouldn't be working in June. Instead I was watching like South Africa, New Zealand and every cricket match. The same said that ordinarily I'd be at the Open this week, but other outside things have contrived that I can't be there. But there is reality is at Sandwich next year and I'll be at that. Don't worry about that. That's just, to me, that's round the corner. And yeah, that's the kind of thing. So never say if only. So Dad said never own dogs. I had 20 in the end. And then, that story early doors when I mentioned about Jeff going to get the autographs for the cricketers. I ended up recently being a volunteer at the ICC Trophy. So never saying if only. Do the things that you want to do beyond, within your means. That's what I say. Just enjoy life. So never say if only. I've been very lucky.
Brilliant. Tanya Stevenson, thank you very much.